Think of the last time a day felt completely magical. I think the first time my kids told somebody I was magic, they were 3 or 4 years old. They were young, and somebody asked them, "What does your mom do for a living?" And they said, "I don't know, she's just magic." And I kind of laughed, but thinking back on things, it might be true. It might be true. I'm sure you've seen all the people on this app or YouTube or Instagram who do manifestation coaching or positive shift coaching, that kind of stuff. And I believe that we are not here designed to suffer. We are here to thrive and experience all the things that we possibly can and want to. And in some ways, we get to control that. So I want to tell you about a couple of times where the magic just showed up. One of the times um, I was doing triathlons and I was very decent at them. I did the half iron distance races and I did the Olympic distance races. And what I also did was I started bike racing long distances, like the things that were 50 plus miles up to about 100 miles. And I really wanted a new bike. I wanted this bike so bad, but the bike was like $6,800, and I was not spending $6,800 on a bike. I had other priorities financially at the time, like trying to pay off my student loans. So I just kept putting money away and saving for this bike and thinking that eventually I would have enough cash saved up to pay cash for the bike. Our bike team had to sponsor a bike shop and we got some discounts with the shop, but the discount wasn't like it wasn't enough to meet what I had cash in hand. And so I was still just looking at the bike, and every couple of weeks I would go in and I would look at the bike and I would test ride it, and I would look at the other things that I would do to it, like a different seat and maybe some different handlebars, and how I would adjust the pedals and what pedals I would put on it. And I did that every other week or so for, gosh, a long time, from March all the way through until August. And in August, I get a phone call from the guy who owns the shop. And he says to me, "Marcy, that bike's on sale." And I was like, "That's fine, Joby, but it's still not on sale for the amount that I need it to be on sale for. Like I am not putting any of this on a credit card. It has to be cash only." And he said, "That's fine. What do you have?" And I said, "Not enough." And he said, "Don't tell me what enough is." And I said, "Well, I only have, like, I need this to be out the door with the seat that I want because I can just move the pedals from my old bike for 2,600. That's what I have cash in hand." And he's like, "Okay, come down." I walked out of that bike store with a $6,800 bike for $2,600. It was half what the sale price was, and it came with a brand new seat. It's more than a decade later. I still have that bike. It still runs amazingly well, and I still enjoy riding it when I have time. But how does that apply to your overall health and wellness? Maybe you don't see the connection, but thinking positively about being on that bike and enjoying the experience of riding that bike makes a difference, and still enjoying that bike makes a difference. But let's tell you about another time. When my boys were not quite 5, they were they were just shy of 4.5. I was running a bath for them and I had kneeled down and I had my toes on the ground, but the balls of my feet were not touching the ground. And Alex looked at my feet and said, "Mommy, why do you have an owie on the bottom of your foot?" And I said, "I don't have an owie." And he touched it and he said, "Yes, you do." And when he touched it, I could feel it all the way in between my toes, like he was playing with something inside my foot. I went to the dermatologist. Dermatologist looked at it and said, that needs a biopsy. It was cancer. He didn't get it all. He needed to send me to a guy who was a specialist who dealt with this, who would make sure that I didn't have nerve damage and I would still have enough of the fat pad on the foot that I could still run, because at the time I was still running quite frequently. and he wanted to make sure that I wouldn't damage the bones by removing too much of the fat pad, basically. So I went to that guy and they sent it in for testing. And it came back that part of it was cancer, but part of it was scar tissue. And while I was waiting for the results, I just kept saying, I can't have cancer. I have 2 young children. They need me. I signed up to do this job of raising them, and I have to be healthy in order to do that. And I do all the things right. I'm doing everything right. There is no way that this is cancer, and there's no way that I'm going to have to deal with all the things that comes with getting a cancer diagnosis. That outpatient procedure and non-weight bearing for 6 weeks was the only thing that came of it, ever, period. I have never had another incident, period. The boys are now almost 16. I had a patient come in once and she had found a lump in her breast and they had done a mammogram and they had done an ultrasound and they had done a biopsy. And when she went in to have the surgery to have a lymph node removed, she told the surgeon, you know what? I didn't sign up for this. I didn't sign up for this. This is not my life story. And the lymph node came back clean. No radiation, no chemotherapy. By the same token, I had another patient who was worried. She's worried about everything. And she came into my office and repeatedly, over and over and over again, was like, what if I get breast cancer from X? What if I get breast cancer from X? What if I get breast cancer from X? She developed breast cancer within 6 months. At 80 years old, she developed breast cancer. You get to be magical too. You get to decide what you signed up for and what you didn't sign up for. It's just how much you believe that's actually true. Because you weren't put here to suffer. You were put here to thrive. I hope you have an amazing day.